In this tutorial I want to show you how to seam 2 panels of a Tunisian crochet project where you have 2 pieces that you sew together. If you want to know how to transform a pattern that is worked in panels into a pattern that you work in the round, I will have a separate video for that. And this is just for rows that are worked horizontally, where you seam between the last stitch of one panel and the first stitch of the other panel. Like this. This is the last stitch here on this panel, and this is the first stitch on this other panel. I started seaming with the last color that I used in this project, which is the dark purple, and I want to use the same yarn to demonstrate different methods of seaming and to show you how visible they are in the final seam so that you can choose your favorite. We start by working with the 2 fabrics right sides together. So the front side of the fabric is inside the seam. The seam will be on the inside when the project is worn, but we will start by working on it inside out. So we prepare the 2 sides, one next to the other, and we look at the loops on the edge of the project. These are the first stitches of one panel and last stitches of the other panel. The easiest thing you can do is just go under the loops of the last stitch on one panel and first stitch on the other panel on the same row and just go around like this. This is very easy and you get fast at it, but if you look at the fabric on the right side, you will notice that you can see the seam very well and that you have these gaps here. The reason for this is that the last stitch is not very stable. So when you pull on it, it will open up into these loops. So you will have some holes where the join is. So I don't recommend using this method. What you can do instead of this, where you go just around the loops on the edge, is going through the return pass of that particular row. So you stab through, make sure you're not going through the stitch on the front, and then stab through the next one, the same return pass on the other side, and then from front to back you come out. Next again from front, go through the return pass, look on the front of the work so that you don't go through the stitches in the pattern, and then again on the other side go through the return pass from the front of the fabric to the back. And you repeat this, and yes, it takes more time, but it creates a sturdier and much more invisible seam than just going through the first and last stitches. If you look on the front of the work, you can still see the seam, but if you pull back a bit once in a while, the stitches will become tighter and you will not see them as much. I made a mistake here. So check when you make this kind of seam that you don't go into the knit stitches in this case, or any other stitch that you have right at the edge. As you can see, there are no gaps with this seam. Now I will have to frog a bit to fix this bit here. And now I will show you the method that I actually prefer for making seams in such projects. You go to the front of the work, so you will work with the right side of the fabric facing you, and this is a bit easier with regards to not messing up the stitch pattern. You go under the return pass chain on one side, right between the last stitch of the pattern and the last stitch of the row. From below, you go up. In the corresponding row on the other side, you can go through the return pass chain or you can go under it. Both methods work. And then you go back to the first side and you go under or through the return pass chain and the next side. You can work loosely until you make a bit of progress. And once you have some progress done, you can just pull on the yarn and then close the gap. This is similar to the mattress stitch, which you can use to seam fabrics or knit fabrics or regular crochet fabrics, and you can get a nice rhythm with this. You can pull back a bit on the seaming thread, and now you can see the seam is almost invisible here, and the stitches are nicely aligned. On the inside you will have a ridge, not like with the previous method where you have a much flatter seam, but this method also uses less yarn for seaming because essentially you have one straight piece of string here. So this is the method that I recommend that you use to seam up Tunisian crochet fabrics. If you want to make a dress with these stitches, like the one that I'm using to demonstrate this video, there will be a link to the pattern in the description so you can try it out. And if you want to, you can also learn how to make it in the round so you don't have to make a seam. I hope this tutorial will be useful to you for many projects from now on. And if you want to know when I publish more videos, make sure you subscribe to my email updates, and here on YouTube, press the notification bell so you know when I publish the next tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!